Okay.
Hi, welcome all to our regularly scheduled program. Yes. It is Tuesday, December 19th, 2023 at 6:05 p.m. The council is coming out of closed session. Attorney Giffen, will you please take us out of and report on the closed session?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, council members and members of the public. The council met in closed session on item 2A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. There were two cases discussed. Council gave direction and there's nothing to report out.
Thank you very much. And I apologize if you all will give us about 5 minutes to regroup. We'll be back with you in a moment. We are not Facebooking. We are not Facebooking tonight. We don't have to have it Facebooked. It's not a prerequisite. If I'm correct, Norma, please correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct. It is not a requirement of the Brown Act, but you did note it on Facebook or on the agenda that it would be streaming on Facebook. So I think
Just a note saying that we are unable.
It'll be noted in the minutes. Make sure it's noted in the minutes that an attempt was made, but due to technical difficulty, unable to stream live on Facebook. And then, please excuse me, I want to look really fast. I think we've given sufficient time for people to enter the meeting. If they're trying to get on Facebook, notice that they can't get on, but they can come in through Zoom. We should be able to be sufficient with the election number 3 happening and then number 4 public comment. That would be giving people enough time.
Norma, I'm sorry. The council couldn't understand what you said. I don't know if Attorney Giffen or the city manager did, but we missed that.
That last part?
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
The part about Facebook.
Okay. Okay. I did say that it is noticed on the agenda. And so due to being noticed on the agenda, it is good to make sure that it is stated in the minutes that due to technical difficulty, we were unable to stream on Facebook. And it is not a requirement of the Brown Act to stream live. So we did our best effort. That happens sometimes with digital and technology. We're not allowing public comment through Facebook. It was just a live push out stream. So you're okay there. And what I did state additionally was if people have gone onto Facebook, this at least gives them an opportunity, since we have number 3, the election next, and then public comment, for people to be able to join by the Zoom if they were trying to watch by Facebook and allow for that public comment opportunity. So again, you guys are doing your due diligence and sufficiency in allowing the public to participate and comment in the meeting. So you are okay. definitely make sure it's in the minutes noted that due to technical difficulty, it was not streamed live.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody got that? We all good now? Maybe. Perfect. Okay, next order of business, sorry, elections, city manager.
But we have 16 people signed into Zoom.
You can actually be logged in with a name and an email, not just.
For Zoom. For all those who cannot get in on the Zoom, our Zoom link is, oh, I guess they can't hear me if they can't get on. It's on the agenda. If anybody else is getting text messages on, I can't get in on Zoom, can y'all please send them a link? Sure.
So if you're just clicking on the link or trying to type in the link.
For those trying to click on the link or type in the link, if you don't actually have a Zoom account, a free Zoom account, and are logged in with your email so that you can be identified, it won't let you in.
Update.
Yeah, we did just have someone join the meeting, so we're up to 17 now.
Okay. Elections, take 3, city manager, background, please.
Every December, the city council considers reorganization. During an election year, it's a little bit different, a little more complicated, but on a non-off year like this year, we simply follow the process identified in the municipal code for the selection of mayor and mayor pro tem. So the section 2-1205, choosing mayor and mayor pro tem. At the regular meeting in December of each year, the city council shall choose one of its members to serve as mayor and one of its members to serve as mayor pro tem. Each serve until successors are chosen at the regular meeting in the following December. So it's a 1-year term, and we generally we go through this process every year. So at this point, Mayor, you'd be asking for nominations.
Thank you very much. And one other order of business. I apologize. We have nobody working our cameras and we can't figure them out. So y'all are looking at the audience and not the council. All council members are present and accounted for. Our city attorney is here and our city manager is here. Time's up. We're done, meeting over. And if I can take a few seconds, and just a few, as the mayor, I have truly appreciated the support of my family, my friends, my community, my city, and my team who have supported me day in and day out, and who have steadfastly stood by me, through this whole entire process. I appreciate all those who have answered the call when I have called, for whatever need arose, through emergencies, through non-emergencies. I appreciate that the schools and the mission have reached out to me for whatever their needs are, and for all of you in the city for trusting in me and allowing me to be your voice. What we have done as a council this last year are immeasurable, although we have measured them. We have agreements with the city of Hollister for wastewater. We have an agreement with the San Benito County Water District to bring a softer water here. There are several accomplishments that I have myself gone through. I'm not going to go through all of those in for time. But I just want to close and something that Michelle Obama said, one light feeds another, one strong family lends strength to more, An engaged community can ignite those around it. This is the power of the light that we carry. Please all continue to be that light, continue to be engaged. And I still have 3 more years as a council member, and I will continue to be your voice and bring your light forward. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate you all. And it's been phenomenal sitting as the mayor on this council. Thank you all. I appreciate you. So back to my agenda. Please sit by. Since this is a matter that comes before the council and has an action to be taken, I am going to ask for council comments, public comments, and then for nominations. Do we have any council comments? Councilmember Friels, Mayor Pro Tem Freeman, Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I just want to say thank you, Mayor.
Click your button, please.
Sorry. Thank you, Mayor, for your stellar work this year. You have accomplished a lot in the city, and it's been a pleasure working with you. And then also, Pro Tem Mayor Freeman, thank you so much for your efforts. And I know you go to faraway places like Monterey County and do your work there. And I appreciate both of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Sabathia.
I couldn't help myself. Also, thanks. Almost from the second we were seated, I've appreciated your leadership. It was amazing to see you in action in Sacramento. She was strutting, and I was just trying to keep up and take in everything. It was a lot, but I've appreciated that. We don't always agree on everything, but even in disagreements, we have civil conversations and understand where everything else is coming from. So I've appreciated that.
Thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Public comment. Do we have any speaker cards? City Manager? Thank you. You are on camera. If you will please state your name for the record. Press the big green button, and I apologize, you have 3 minutes. It's not a big green button.
My name is Jason Sublick. Good evening, Mayor Jordan and City Council. By now, you have already heard about the only handful of things that Mayor Leslie Jordan has accomplished over the past few years as our mayor. Some of which include spearheading much needed upgrades for our community wastewater plant, being a champion of the children of our community, and as a voice for our city to gain not only local and national, but federal recognition through her mindful relationships with Zoe Lofgren and others. These relationships have ultimately led to the sizable federal grant for the seismic retrofit of the mission, which, as you know, is your bread and butter. The mission brings in thousands of tourists to our city every year who eat and shop locally, bringing in substantial revenue to the city. She has become a face of the community and has been a constant, consistent, and fearless leader. She is beloved by all who know her and quite literally can walk down the street without, a smile on her face and a quick, "Hi, how are you?" The founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, once said, "Trust equals consistency over time." Today, I implore you to trust that Mayor Jordan remains 100% committed to providing a roadmap for a future relationship through our community, local, national, and federal governments, and will continue to remain steadfast in her consistency to fulfill the responsibilities and purpose of our community today and for those who come after us. Should you choose to re-elect her again, I know that there's no limit to what she will achieve with all of San Juan Bautista standing beside her. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment in chambers?
There is one comment. No in chambers, I don't believe.
Thank you. Norma, do we have anybody on Zoom?
We do. I have one hand raised here on Zoom. And so, Mayor, would you like me to bring that person in?
Thank you, yes.
Wanda, I'm bringing you in. As soon as you come in, unmute yourself and then your timer, 3-minute timer will start.
Vanda, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Norma. Welcome back on the short-term basis. I didn't really prepare for this. The fellow who just spoke before me really said what I was thinking. I have full faith in Mayor Jordan. She has represented us very well, not only in the city, but also in the county. And I'm very confident in her abilities and working with people to the best of her abilities, with respect. And I just have full faith and trust in her ability to carry on. Thank you.
Thank you. Do
Mayor,
we have Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize. We do have another hand raised, so I'd like to bring that person in.
Thank you.
It's Renee. You unmute yourself. Your 3-minute timer will start.
Welcome, Renee.
Hi, my name is Renee Wells. Many of you may know me. I'm the Executive Director of the Economic Development Corporation of San Benito County, where I've been for 2 years. I've worked very closely with the mayor, Mayor Jordan, on a lot of economic development projects, and she has represented San Juan Bautista and San Benito County very well, and I encourage you to allow her to continue as the mayor for San Juan Bautista. She's done a great job, and I think she could continue to do great work for the city of San Juan Bautista and San Benito County. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no other hands raised at this time, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And my apologies. Welcome back. It's really good to have you here. Okay, I will now open up nominations for the mayor of San Juan Bautista. I nominate myself. Sorry, go ahead.
I nominate Scott Frios.
I'll second that.
Any nominations?
Apologize, with not being able to see the dais, it is hard to identify.
I'll go through everything.
Thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, because you will have to poll the council. So a nomination was made for Leslie as mayor by Leslie. It was seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Thank you.
Councilmember Sabathia voted, nominated Councilmember Friels, and that was seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Freeman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Norma, now will you please poll the council?
Yes. I will do this in alphabetical order with Mayor Jordan at the end. So first is Councilmember Scott Frios.
Who do you want as mayor?
Sorry. We're just gonna say who we want instead of,
There are 2 nominations out there, so
Okay.
choose one.
okay, I'll choose myself.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem John Freeman.
Scott Friels.
Thank you. Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez.
Yes, Mayor Leslie Jordan.
Thank you. Councilmember EJ Sabathia.
Scott Frios.
Thank you. And Mayor Leslie Jordan.
Myself.
Thank you. So the vote is 3 for Friels and 2 for Jordan.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Councilmember Scott Friels, Mayor Friels.
Do I have to cut my hair? Thank you.
You're a funny guy.
We gotta move.
Yeah, we gotta move. What? For now you do. You can at the next year choose any spot you wish, I suppose. Thank you all again. I really appreciate you all. I have poison stuff, so. Towards, I have lots of towards. You can keep them there, I'll get them at the end. Thank you. Can I have my chair? Just kidding. I know, right?
Okay, give me a second here. I'm on paper, not on a, oh, I got it right here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, well, it's a separate item, or it's a separate selection, so we should probably do the same thing over. What do you think? Do the public comment or council comment, and then we'll do public comment. Do we have any council comment? For the, what is it, for pro tem? Nothing? Do we have anybody out in the audience? Zoom land?
We do not have any hands raised on Zoom.
Okay,
Anybody in chambers? Do
nothing?
you have any comment?
Any comment cards from the chamber?
No, none have been turned in. Does anybody have a comment card on Mayor Pro Tem? Double checking? No.
Okay, do we have nominations for Mayor Pro Tem? Do we have to go in order? No. Well, yeah, I gotta remember the yeah, now I gotta do the order again. Yeah. John?
I nominate EJ Sabathia for Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, Jackie?
I nominate Leslie Jordan for pro tem.
You be next, yeah. Sorry.
I'll take me.
Okay. EJ? EJ?
I second it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I agree with Leslie being the mayor pro tem, so that's pretty much three of us anyway, so I don't think normally do we have to do a voice count? Since three of us agree.
It is prudent to get the voice roll call vote in.
Okay.
We've never served. I do want to know, I did not hear a second for EJ.
Oh, sorry.
There was there a second?
Oh,
Was there a second?
I will. No.
No,
There was not. So at this point, the only person nominated is Leslie Jordan, or Councilmember Leslie Jordan. And so, yes, doing a roll call vote, all she does need is 3 votes to get put in. If we get 5, great. 4, great. 3 is the minimum. If not, we'll have to go through the process one more.
time. Yeah,
I think we should have a roll call.
yeah, let's do a roll call. I'm having a hard time understanding. I'm sorry, Norma. It's a little garbly on your end. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will work on my microphone as well when we get
Okay.
done. So, would you like me to take vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. So going in alphabetical order, with mayor being last, we have currently Mayor Pro Tem John Freeman,
Leslie Jordan.
Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
EJ Sabathia,
Yes.
kind of alphabetical, sorry, Leslie Jordan,
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Scott Friel.
Yes.
So the motion and nomination for Councilmember Leslie Jordan to be Mayor Pro Tem passes with 5 yes votes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
And while we're doing that, I like to say a couple things. I do also want to thank Leslie for her tireless dedication to our community. This town, she took us through extremely difficult times. And I appreciate it, and I always appreciated our phone calls and our conversations. So thank you so much, and I thank you all for this nomination. Some of you don't know, my dad was the mayor of San Juan years ago, so this is something special to me. And one of my mentors, Leonard Catano, was the mayor, and one of my best friends, John Hopper, was the mayor. So this has been heck of a road for me. So last year for me. So okay, and we have to clear something up before public comment. Is that correct? About the agenda?
Yes, we can. The matters on, for closed session tonight, were, two matters for anticipated litigation. We had inadvertently, agendized, another closed session calendar. And that has changed. The only one that's operable is the one that's been amended. There are two items of anticipated litigation. The previous one is, the one that was initially published is no longer in effect.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to public comment. Public comment is for matters not on the agenda. Generally, we limit them to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any public? Oh, we got public comment there.
Ready?
Yep.
Congratulations, Mayor, Vice Mayor.
Thank
Good evening, members of the council. I appear before this council tonight to bring light to this perpetual harassment that I'm receiving from city staff. For example, why is it okay, or why is it when I put up a political sign on my property, in less than 12 hours, I received notice from the code enforcement officer to remove the sign violating SJBMC 11-10-080, but there are multiple signs currently up right now that are in violation, and including Councilmember Freeman's sign that is actually 18 square feet. Was it because I put it up or who I was representing? I was issued a parking citation when I stopped my vehicle in front of a closed road, leaving the engine running, clearly unloading supplies to a local business. The two vehicles parked on either side of me were not issued a citation while being parked in a red zone, even after the assistant city manager directed the code enforcement officer to do so. How about when the code enforcement officer sent park it in the kitchen Kaisermet to keep an eye on me, and they would constantly sit in front of my house harassing me and blocking my driveway. This has gone further than my personal life and is affecting my career in the company I work for, from the assistant city manager's lies to a promoter, resulting in a loss of a contract, or the time where my employer was contracted to secure an event downtown overnight, and Rich Brown directed the San Juan security contractor to remove us from the area due to it being off limits. Even Councilmember Freeman, with his erroneous report to the county's board, sheriff's department, and San Juan city manager, accusing me of threatening him and his wife, resulting for my loss of work. I'm not going to get started on Darlene's copious amounts of misinformation regarding the ownership and conflict of interest regarding level 1. I'm trying to stay on topic with the city. The real reason why I'm here is in response to an inquiry initiated by the city of San Juan Bautista's code enforcement officer, Mr. Rich Brown, and the city manager, Don Reynolds, because of a video that I took 4 years ago and recently posted on social media. The matter under consideration pertains to my possession of an obsolete fire apparatus. In the interest of efficiency and transparency, I'm here to acknowledge the possession of a 1990 Mack fire engine. It is pertinent to note that this particular apparatus was originally donated to the country of Guatemala by the city of San Juan Bautista. I held in my possession this outdated piece of equipment at my residence in San Juan Bautista before it was dispatched to our friends in Guatemala. Additionally, I wish to admit the removal of a tag from a mattress back in 2018. Can I please have your business card so I could send it forward to my attorney so he could get a hold of you?
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, informational items. We'll start off with the treasurer's report and then we'll work our way down. So treasurer's report, Michelle on? There she is.
Hi, how's it going? Sorry, I can't see you
Hi.
guys.
Good,
I can see
good.
the public,
I'm sorry, I was
so.
just, Jackie distracted me over here. Yeah.
No worries, no worries. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and the public. I'll give you a brief overview of the financials. So we are now in the 5th month of the new fiscal year. So I'll give you the overview of where we're at, and I'll start off with the general fund. So year to date, our net effect is currently a positive balance of 75K. The month over month change was a decrease of 54K. Revenues are still in line with expectation. Everything's totally fine right now. On the expenditure side, we did have slightly higher expenses due to contract services and IT invoices that related to a prior period that came in a little bit later, which means that we just have to pay them out. And then some of the vendors that stood out for November, actually, before I jump into that, I just want to make a quick note. On the agenda, the warrant listing is for November, but it should have been for October. So if you have questions on the November one, I'm happy to answer those, but I'm going to reference the October warrant listing as that correlates with the financials that we're talking about. So some of the vendors that stood out for October were David J. Powers and Associate, which is an analysis that was done for applicability of CEQA, which will be paid back later to the city. MNS Engineers, which is our city engineer fees based on consumption. And then 4Leaf, which is our monthly fee for building officials and permits, building official and permits. For the Water Enterprise Fund, year to date, our net effect is currently a positive balance of 351K. The month over month change there is an increase of 88K. So revenues are still running in line with expectation and higher than budget, which is still pretty good. We're at 43% of our, we are budgeted at 43%, which is normal for this time of the year. And on the expenditure side, things are still in line with expectation with normal recurring expenses. So nothing stood out this month. On the Sewer Enterprise Fund, year to date, our net effect is currently a positive balance of 356K. The month over month change there was an increase of 97K. So similar to the previous 2 months that we've seen, revenues are still running slightly higher than budgeted, which is a good thing as well. And our sewer revenue, along with the commercial account, are doing much better. So the commercial account being one that's been doing a little bit better, and we're continuing to see that now. On the expenditure side, we're still running expenses as expected. The only material call out continues to be the sewer line project that we have going on. And that's all I have for now, unless there's questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the public on?
No.
Yeah, for those of you on Zoom, you can see the place is cleared out.
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. So, questions from council on anything? John? Okay. Oh, so yeah. I didn't see any hands raised. So.
Thank you for the great report, Michelle. No real questions on it. Thank you.
Hi, Michelle.
I gotta
Thank
work
you.
on that.
Thank you for pointing it out with David J. Powers, because I had a question earlier about that expenditure of 18,745.53. That is going to be reimbursed down the road, hopefully back to the city. The invoice, what did it look like? Was there was it like a flat rate? Were there hours? What did
So that's a great question. It varies month over month. Dawn, you might be able to provide a little bit more context on what the invoice looks like, since I don't see the detail of that. If you can
I'd
assist me.
have to pull it. I can happy to share that with the council as a follow-up tomorrow, and a copy of the contract if you like, council member.
Okay, and then just so transparency for people on Zoom, the public, can you just briefly tell the public or tell us what that 18,745.53 odd cents was for?
So JD Powers is coordinating environmental studies related to the violation at 451 San Juan Hollister Road. They're our lead consulting agency overlooking biological, hydrological, and cultural studies on that property to make sure that as we remediate the nuisance, that we don't cause further damage to the species and artifacts that may lie on that property. So they're all subject to a reimbursement agreement executed between the city and the property owner.
And then my last question, I understand the surface water services, but the PG&E bill, wow, 11,000, almost say 12K. Is that like 6 months in arrears, or what was that total for PG&E?
But that one too, I would have to, in the future, maybe we can meet before the council meeting and I can help you with some of these questions, but I'm happy to take a note and get that data for you.
Yeah, I think also.
Sorry, was the question PG&E being about $10,000? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that high?
Yeah, so I can't speak on the detail, but that's still in line with expectation of what we pay out monthly. So it doesn't differ from 3 months ago. If anything, it differs by $1,000 and that would be it. But it's still in line. The detail Don can probably provide. But yeah.
And Michelle, the PG&E bill is mostly attributable to our lift stations. And so the cost should be allocated then to the sewer lift stations and to the water enterprise fund.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
So, sorry, I do have a little bit more detail on this if you wanted me to share, Don.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just a little bit of context, because I asked Veronica, sometimes on some of the larger items, it's gas and electric for the bill of the city and all items located around San Juan Bautista, which Don just mentioned. Some of those being downtown near Main Street, electrical on the pumps, community hall, fire station, electrical at the waterways treatment location. So those are some of the few locations that the PG&E is paying for. And of course, it's allocated, as Don mentioned, across the different budgets on the financials. So it's just a lump sum that we pay and then we allocate it on the financials.
Thank you.
Leslie.
Thank you. I have no questions. Michelle, thank you very much again for all answering all my questions every month. I really do appreciate you and what you have done for me. I do have one clerical comment for the minutes. This item is under 5E on our packet. It is actually 5A as an apple.
Oh, right.
And I have no other comments on budgetary items. Thank you.
AJ, anything?
I've got nothing.
And I don't have any comments. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. It's the ring down from the firehouse. Yeah. Here all it comes. Okay, reports from city council representatives to regional organizations and committees. John, you're up first.
Thank you. AMBAG did not meet this month. It takes December off. Central Coast Community Power met last week in closed session. I will say their closed sessions are a lot happier than ours. They're contemplating buying some real property, but I can't say where. That's confidential. Let's see. Integrated Waste Management met last week. City Manager Reynolds will probably have a furthermore comment, but we have a couple of things that we discussed. We discussed the illegal dumping and recently Integrated Waste Management proposed to the Board of Supervisors, and the Board of Supervisors passed a very large increase in illegal dumping fines. I believe we're going to come up with that a complementary ordinance in the next couple of months. So all three jurisdictions are the same. If you illegally dump in Hollister, the county, or San Juan, your fines are going to be the same. So one of the worst places for illegal dumping is not in San Juan Bautista, but very close to San Juan Bautista, and that's the San Juan Salinas Grade Road. It is the worst. Integrated Waste Management hired Enright and whatever their last names are, the landscaping company, that they hold out like 4 tons of materials, 2 cars, 68 tires. It just is amazing. The amount of trash that is up on that road, and it does affect our city in some ways. So we're going to put up cameras up there. My only, and I hope it works. I hope it really works, but I think most of it's done at night. They just kind of shove it off the side of the road. Not very many people travel that road at night. It's a bad road to begin with in terms of condition, and it's just not well traveled. Anyway, also we are initiating a new permitting program for what I call industrial haulers. It's there's something called a franchise hauler, which you and I know as Recology, and they come to our house every Friday morning and pick up our trash. And they do that in Hollister on a different day, in the county on a different day. And those are franchised, but there's a lot of other companies that haul trash. Also, you and I would know it as construction debris or large things. And there are many companies. Some of them aren't even companies, some are just individuals that do this. And they're going to be on a yearly permit basis now, where they pay a one-time fee and they get a permit for all year to use the landfill. And so that's that's a change in the code, and that will also be coming up to us in an agenda in the next couple of months. And Mr. Reynolds is going to talk more about that in a few minutes. That's all I have. Thank you.
You know, sitting over here on the other side, I never noticed John has these 5x7 cards. I was always wondering, God, his memory is amazing. Right? I mean, this is my chicken scratch on the meetings that I've been to, and so now I know. I'm on to you, John. So, Jackie, what do you got last month?
There. So December 4th, I attended the intergovernmental meeting or committee in Hollister, along with City Manager Don Reynolds and also Mayor then Leslie Jordan. The chair of that group was Colin Kosmicki, our District 2 Supervisor. The group had consensus that we would have a resolution similar to what the City Council did last month regarding the restriction of left-hand turns during the commute hours of 3 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday from all of the arterial roads from the San Juan Valley on Highway 156 during the construction of that highway, as it poses imminent danger, potential wrecks, you name it. So that got voted on and passed. We also had the top people from the Hollister PD chief, who is now retiring, I believe. Is he outgoing, the Hollister PD chief? He was there at the meeting. Yes, Mr. Reynoso?
And Carlos Vanessa, yes.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. That was CHP.
That's
There was like 3. There was a sheriff.
Right, Sheriff Eric Taylor, Hollister PD
And
Chief Reynoso, and CHP Captain Cooper,
Right.
who
So
retired.
they all 3 came to speak to us in regards to a recurring theme that there are huge shortages in staff. So our ask, they're going to work on it, but they're stretched pretty thin. But they are going to work with that. And they're actively recruiting for all 3 departments. And then we kind of wrapped up the meeting with that. And then there was a presentation, I believe, by someone that was either consultant or director of the Area Aging Council.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something of interest to the group. But I think the most pressing thing is the traffic and all the roads that are being worked on. And then, of course, the other committee that I belong to is the Urban Growth Boundary and the Sphere of Influence Committee, which is no longer an ad hoc because it's a publicly attended meeting, along with newly elected Mayor Reels was there, and also a couple of planning commissioners, Dan DeVries and David Medeiros. We had a special meeting last week on December the 13th. And we discussed our next steps to solidify our SOI and our UGB and our new animal called the planning area. We need to get that presented before the county, and we're working also steps here with our city council. And I believe, Don Reynolds, our city manager, will talk more about that as well, because that's a huge, huge endeavor. It involves amending sections of our general plan in regards to how we want to grow, versus what was happening, I guess 2015 when that came out?
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of changes now with the direction the city wants to grow, the outcome from the special committee. And then third is kind of a fun thing. I'm a member, as probably most of you are here, maybe are on the audience, of the San Juan Bautista Historical Society, and the chair, Ms. Wanda Goubert, is the chair of that committee or that group. And so I thought I would do something fun for them. I don't get to attend all their meetings, but I'm going to try in 2024 to be more active. And so I decided to volunteer my time and efforts to decorate holiday decorations for the entrance to the Luck Museum. I did that for Thanksgiving. It was fun. And I did it this year for this month for Christmas, and have some solar lights out there. They don't get too much sun because it's winter. So it's kind of fun, but I just want to say that is a gem. You know, I just wish it would be open a little bit more. I know it takes a lot of volunteerism, whatnot, but it's just a gem. That place houses so much history, all the history of our little town. I went to their open house a few months ago and just was amazed by all of the papers and documents and photos and just stuff that's in there of, you know, everyone's family that's lived here. You know, Scott and I grew up here. And it's just amazing to see all that stuff in there, and it's really nice, and I want to continue to help them in any way. And yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie.
I also attended intergovernmental and have nothing further to add to that. I sit on the LAFCO board, and for 3 months prior to January, our first January meeting, the board was super dysfunctional, and not a whole lot got accomplished. In the last 12 months, we have hired an attorney to represent LAFCO. We have an executive director, the same firm that is working on our MSRs. We've created a budget and a plethora of other work associated with that committee and just getting it off the ground. For the first time in December, we actually did business, and it was super awesome. The meeting lasted an hour. It was a 5-0 vote for 5 items that came before us. One of the biggest things was to allow several entities joining in on the wastewater plant. Gatlin College was accepted, Lands of Lees was accepted, and there were 2 others, and I apologize to all those who were there. I don't remember what they were, but that was huge. Because the wastewater plant has been such a contentious topic at the City of Hollister's meetings. I also attended the Water Resources Agency, and it was just a closeout of the year. Nothing major happened there. I have attended several business council meetings, and they're all mostly informational on communities around us. And just today, I'm on a Hazel Hawkins Hospital committee, if you will, on, stop laughing about that, thank you very much, on who could potentially oversee things. So we heard from one more agency or entity, and I have brought up to every meeting that I am in that during COVID, our little tiny clinic over here run by Hazel Hawkins was closed, and needed assurance that we would still be open with whomever that comes in, and 15 minutes, I think everybody got a little upset with me. Because I was taking so long just on San Juan. I was the only representation for San Juan and have been through most of these meetings. Trying to instill on whomever is coming in that this is something that is desperately needed by our community. And I wouldn't stop until they finally finally said, thank you very much, have a nice day. With no response really on how they were gonna work with us. It was really nice to see a ton of representation from Hollister and the county. One of their biggest things is that we sit on major highways, and that would be a source of income to Hazel Hawkins. And I said, as San Juan being on a major highway, it is very easy for us to go to South County, or to Monterey County, to Salinas, or to the Community Hospital of Monterey Peninsula, or Watsonville, or St. Louise. And they were not happy with that. And so once again, I reiterated that it is very important that we have a clinic here so that we continue to use Hazel Hawkins as our hospital. Thank you. That's all I have.
You're rocking the boat.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Jake.
I appreciate that boat being run. I don't think they appreciated that when they came to give us our talk either.
No.
The only board I sit on is the LAFCO, and Mayor Pro Tem Jordan elaborated on that. I almost said Freeman. Caught myself. I had to. I've had some conversations with former council member and mayor Mary Edge about her work with the seniors. I was hoping to have early in December attended a potluck that they were going to have, but that was canceled. So that's unfortunate. I'd love to see that continued or picked up either for late Christmas or a New Year's thing, but we'll see. And don't have anything else to report.
Thank you. Jackie, you mentioned something about the, oh yeah. Good timing, I think, on our part on the urban growth boundary and the planning. It's kind of in line with the county, because the county decided to drop 4 community study areas, and one big one was right over here in 156 and 101. So good timing. Sounds like we're on the same page with the county. Had COG, normal COG meeting was actually pretty short. We did set a date for Highway 25 workshop. It'll be January 31st, and I can get the details on that. It's important. We're finally going to find out where this project sets. We're kind of in limbo right now, and Benu she's brought everything together, and hopefully we'll hear from Caltrans and our end. There's a lot of questions being asked from COG members, especially where are we and how much money, where's the money? So more boat rocking. So but COG, as far as COG goes, we're working really well together. It's actually been enjoyable. At first I was a little nervous about being on it, but because it's kind of a big deal, and I've been enjoying it. So I appreciate Leslie appointing me to that position, and I hope to stay on it. And that's about all I have. Nothing on the mosquitoes this time.
We do have our first fire protection advisory committee meeting.
Yes,
on
finally,
Thursday.
yeah, Thursday, yeah, thank you.
First one in.
It's a good thing I got an invitation on her at 9 o'clock, right? Okay, I had 2 meetings Thursday. Questions from, questions from our audience. Any questions from Zoom land? Doesn't seem like it. I don't see any hands. Okay, we can move on to city council announcements. It's more of a personal or upcoming event type stuff. John, do you have anything?
Only the Leal's having a grand opening Thursday night, or not the Leal, but the new hacienda. It's changed ownership. It's no longer owned by Mr. Leal, so the new ownership is putting on a little grand opening.
Okay. Anything, Jackie?
Yeah, tomorrow is senior lunches over, actually Thursday, today's Tuesday, yeah. This coming Thursday, there's senior lunches at the community center. We also have bingo after the lunch. I sometimes volunteer, and this week I'm gonna be calling bingo, so if anyone wants to come over, you don't have to be a senior, you can be a guest. So hopefully some of you will show up. Thank you.
Leslie, anything fun?
No, nothing upcoming that I'm aware of that I recall at this time. ECB, did the lights at, the Memorial Park Library, area. Super cool, thank you very much. I didn't have my thing on. Thank you, ECD, for the lights at the park.
Anything? I don't have anything fun or anything coming up. Okay. I also want to thank the clampers. I spent about 4.5, 5 hours with them putting up lights. It was fun. They're really dedicated, and they've already been brainstorming on some new designs that they can do and get in some more lights. Most of those lights are donated. They bought them themselves, so that's good stuff. Maybe we can help them out next year with timers and things like that, because a lot of them are on the old kitchen timers. You know, we've got those new dusted on type, so maybe we can, you know, pitch in and help. One cool thing, San Benito County Office, OES, Office of Emergency Services, is giving out 2 per household emergency alert radios, the Midland NOAA radios. They're already preset for San Benito County's alerts, so they're already preset. Another cool thing about them too is you can go in and do multiple counties in the area. So not only will we have San Benito County, but you can go to like multiple counties and they'll say, and it gives you your NOAA weathers, your coastal forecasts and all that kind of stuff. So they will be giving them out from 9 to 4 for the next 2 days, for the 19th and actually 20th and 21st. And then they're going to be closed for until January 3rd. And you can go in and get them. And like I said, 2 per, and they had stacks of them. So they're worth it. And if for some reason you can't get over there, if you just email them at oes@cosb.us, and they can figure out a way to get them over to us. It's a great idea. It does everything: earthquakes, floods, fires. So it's nice feature.
Address, location.
Address. Oh, yes. It is 4th Street. What is it? Hang on, I was just there. Is it 471 4th Street? I think that sounds right. It's right next to it. Yeah, I've got that one memorized. So yeah, right next to the county board of supervisors building. So that's cool. And that's all I have. I don't have my 5x7 cards yet, so I'll be digging those up. Okay. I don't think we really have any questions. Doesn't look like questions from the audience. Okay. Let's go. We got city manager's report. Do you want to go with fire first, Don, or do you want to do yours?
Yeah, Charlie's on the line.
Okay.
Charlie, I have to pull up my report, so if you could start, that'd be great.
Hi, this is Charlie. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor and Vice Mayor. Congratulations on the mayor appointment, and the vice mayor. It's going to be an exciting year. I am Charlie Bedolla. I am the fire marshal. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll give you a quick update. For the month of November, from November 1st to the 30th, we've had 1 fire, 10 medicals, 8 vehicle accidents, and 16 inspections, which include the residential or mandates. The fires include the following: grass fire on Mission Vineyard Road, 2 vehicle accidents were inside the San Juan Bautista city limits for the month of November. And the inspections included were the SB 1205 inspections, which began in October. No new business inspections. There were some residential inspections, and there was no special events inspections. In addition, like you had brought up already, the Fire Protection Advisory Committee is this Thursday at the City Hall at 0900. And something real exciting I'm excited about. We're having a CPR class tomorrow for the Aromas and San Juan School District. We'll be teaching coaches and teachers CPR tomorrow night. So we'll be sending our crew over there. So that's something we're real excited about because we've been hitting it hard and expanding up on that. And that's all I have. Do you have anything else or any questions?
Questions from the council? You do have Charlie, you do have an open house coming up too, right? Oh, it's in March. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, we do have that.
That's
So
it.
we have
Yeah.
that in the plan too. So that'll be coming.
That's on the consent.
Perfect.
Any questions from, doesn't look like it, from the audience? No Zoom. Okay, this is easy. All right, well, thank you very much, Charlie. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. And then I'll still be on. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay. Take care.
do we have a sheriff?
No, we don't, the sheriff can leave.
Okay. Okay. And you're up, Mom.
Thank you. So, as Charlie alluded to, we did receive an official as Charlie alluded to, we did receive an official National Weather Service report. It is an El Nino year. But last year we experienced between 90 to 150% of our normal precipitation. And although it's an El Nino year, the last one we had in 2015-16 was actually a dry year, and it mostly impacts Southern California, as we saw flooding there, I think, today. So it won't be as wet as last year, about 10% above average. So Hollister averages about 8 inches a year, which means maybe they'll get 9 inches this year. In preparation for the rain, we are entering into a contract later this week with Granite Construction to remove the silt. It's a FEMA covered cost, and we're going to remove the silt from both the Rancho Vista neighborhood and also on the south side on San Juan Hollister Road. On our wastewater status, more than a mile of pipe has been laid. When I wrote this last week, we're laying about 500 feet a day, except for this week when we haven't laid any due to the weather. So we're at San Justo Road, east of Coke Farms property, heading towards Hollister. We're finding a lot of buried, obsolete concrete infrastructure. And it's interesting to talk to the water district and some others that they expected us to find this like ancient Roman aqueduct system under the asphalt, which makes things slow and expensive. We had a really positive meeting with the industrial users, and we had Taylor on board here at a meeting a week ago Monday to explore connecting directly to the force main as it travels on San Justo Road. We also had a detailed meeting with True Leaf to talk about repurposing their lift station on Prescott or running a pipe to the Coke station and joining at the same lateral. So it would be great if we could get one lateral that would serve all 3 industrial users. And we hope to get those costs back to them by the end of this week so we can make a decision. So very soon we're going to be in front of True Leaf and Coke lift station as early as the first week in January. And thank you, EJ, for helping us site the construction trailer. We are going to place it over next to EJ's house. At the dead end there on Catania Road in Rancho Vista. That should come, EJ, the first week in January. Thank you for your help with that. Okay. Can she see over the fence? Okay. We'll have a budget update for the city council in January. We have drawn down all of the $1 million EPA grant, and today we started drawing down the $3 million state water board grant. We had a $500,000 draw submitted today, so we're taking advantage and drawing down that grant money. City manager met with the district briefly 3 weeks ago to find out the status of their design project. Yesterday I received an email from the director, general manager, Steve Wittry, and they have a draft report from HDR, their design company. So this is to change location of the water line from going along the foothills to coming up the soon to be relinquished Highway 156. So the benefit there is a great cost savings in right of way because we'll be putting it in what will be a county road. So that design is finally coming together and we expect to see it next week, at which time we'll have our city engineer, Doug Pike, work with them on finalizing that. So it's coming together, but slowly. I did meet with M&S engineers and requested some engineering support on the water project and specifically. We have an update coming on, we have received an update from our industrial users on the water quality that they're sending us. It's being managed every month. So I've asked M&S to analyze that for us to make sure we're okay capturing that wastewater before it goes to Hollister. We had a question regarding the blending assumptions of the fresh water. How much would we need to blend with our well water to bring down the hardness to suitable levels for our permitting? I believe we're okay at 60-40. That's the percentage that we've estimated all along. So that therefore we can move forward with both the pipeline and water purchase agreements. We have building plans. You see a charge in our warrant register for the Wallace Group. That's developing the building plans to get the microbie system up and running at well 6. So those plans aren't quite complete yet. Recreation, the software analysis has been completed. We've looked at 4 different companies. So it's going to allow members of our community to register for recreation programs online and to reserve buildings online. It also helps us work with school district and other projects. I think it's going to be great to have this software, and it's going to make it a lot easier and accessible for our community to gain access to our programs. So families sign up and register, and then when they want to join a baseball program or a dance class or something like that, it'll be easy for them to do. It'll also help us track the data so that we can show the council what's successful and what people are not interested in signing up for. So that's a great progress that Caitlin is making, our recreation assistant. So we'll have an agreement for you in January. We're getting to know the school district programs. They're being really active in supporting after school and like the winter break programs. So we're getting to know those programs really well. As mentioned earlier, the clampers lit up Luck Park with Christmas lights, and we continue to participate in the senior listening sessions. Moving forward, we are installing the mural for the library. We have changed gears. We're going to install it against the building, on the side of the building, not on 4x4s, because of the tree roots and the utilities next to the building. So we're going to mount it. We've changed gears so that you guys are aware, right against the building. And so our public works crew is working on that. We had a great ribbon cutting at the Washington Street Bridge, celebrating the mural there. That was a lot of fun that day for those who could make it, and thanks to the economic development folks, and especially thanks to Spirit of San Juan for sponsoring that for us. Highway 156 updates. I think Scott may have mentioned before that there was a change on their end regarding the Union Road closure, that it's going to be pushed out until July when the Mitchell Road work is complete and the roundabout is complete. And it'll have a shorter duration for only 6 weeks. So the pressure that the intergovernmental agency and COG have placed on Caltrans has helped improve the situation. There was a lot of concern about Union Road being closed for a long time and soon. So we've managed to work with them and negotiate a better deal. The whole county has, working with Caltrans. Community development status, we postponed our December 7 UGBSOI meeting, but we had a really successful meeting December 13th. As Councilmember Morris Lopez presented, we finally began talking about the planning area. Also on the planning commission, they reviewed a design for the gas station, 404, 408, the Alameda. And I think we had consensus from the planning commission that the new design that looks a lot like the windmill in an old Western style is a popular design moving forward. So now the developer is confident that they have a design that works. It'll be rescheduled for planning commission as soon as we can, possibly as early as the 9th, but we might have to push that to the 23rd. We've still got some unanswered questions about the permit process that we worked on today with the city attorney and I did. I'm working directly with the owners of 701 3rd Street. We are meeting at 8 a.m. At their house with their building permit this Thursday morning. So I might be a little late to the fire advisory committee meeting, but I should be able to get out there in time, 15-minute drive at that time of day. It just occurs to me. But the good news is that they're getting their building permit, and we arranged a convenient way for them to meet the historical preservation needs. They have a structural engineer on their design team who's going to show us how they're going to shore up the front of the building so it doesn't collapse while they're constructing the rest of the building. As long as we can preserve that front facade, Meg Clovis, our historical advisor, has signed off on their plan. So they're moving forward. They'll have the green light. If they can pay their fees Thursday, then they'll be ready to go. So hopefully we've overcome the obstacles that we had there and everyone's on the same page. 40 McElhenney, formerly Neal's Market. It turns out that the curb that is out there that people park against is actually in the city's road, in the city's right of way. And so Doug Pike, our city engineer, is working with the new owner, Jacob, at Neal's Market, to see if we can get some form of easement, a revocable easement approved for them so that they can continue to park the way they do now, not changing anything. But we still need to get that formality done to make sure the city's liability is covered. So the city engineer's helping me with that. As Councilmember Freeman alluded to, integrated waste management has a package of updates and changes, mostly related to Senate Bill 1383, that consolidates administrative requirements and works on this thing, an update for the NEFA, the NEFA, the non-exclusive franchise agreements. And then there'll be a JPA that comes from that for implementing the foodware ordinances. They're trying to get the same foodware ordinance in San Juan Bautista approved in Hollister and in the county. And then they'll have a JPA for implementing and enforcing that. There is a new legal precedent for the use of franchise fees that we receive from the haulers. We get about $75,000 a year. And the state has decided that those fees are collected from waste haulers, so they need to be used for related costs. And typically what is related costs is the upkeep of our roads, because that heavy equipment is on our roads. And so that's been acceptable, but apparently some cities are using it for other extraneous things or even public safety. So just to be aware of that, it's not as liberal of a franchise fee as we used to, as we're accustomed to. But we've been using it correctly. So on the fire department, I did meet with a consultant on the fire district feasibility study and shared with him some of our history and some of our concerns. I also had an interview from a recruiter for a new fire chief, and I know Councilmember Friels has some concerns about that. If we go into a district format and we hire a new chief, how does all that work? And maybe Scott wants to elaborate on that. We've had some conversations about the volunteer firefighter sign. The fire department, Hollister Fire Department, would like to put up a sign that announces Hollister Fires in the building. So I insisted that the volunteer fire sign stays. And if you want to put up a second sign, you can put up a second sign, but this one's going to stay on our historic building that's historically known as for our volunteer. It recognizes our volunteer firefighters. And Scott, thank you for helping me with that issue. And that's it, just 6 slides tonight. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. John, you have any questions?
No questions now.
Jackie, anything?
I had a bunch, but you answered all of them, Don. So
Nailed
you
it.
went into more detail, which that's great. I appreciate it. The one question that I did have when you were talking about going into a contract with Granite Rock the end of this month, this week, to do the silt cleanup. What about that little, I want to say where the grasses are, the little creek, or is it the retention, that little thing along the Nyland property? Gosh.
Yeah, along San Juan Highway at First Street?
Yeah, going out towards Amazar. And it's perpendicular to the Rancho Vista
Right, that is,
Nothing flooded last year. Who's responsible? I mean, like, part of that's the city, part of it's the county, and is part of it the Nyland Ranch?
right, so the part that runs parallel to La Nina Drive,
Yeah,
that's ours.
okay.
And we accepted that when we accepted the older development, the Creek Bridge development. So we do have approval from the state Fish and Wildlife to remove the cattails and the silts from that area in there. So I do expect them to be working on that. When it gets out to the county road, that's when County Public Works takes over. So it's there's on San Juan Hollister Highway and in front of the Nyland property. And during the emergency in March, they were out there with Granite Rock, the same crew, in fact, clearing that trench out so the water could drain. So I know that the RMA director is also working with Granite Rock to continue that silt removal. I don't know the status specifically on that.
Okay, so then we are just obligated to like where the roundabout is?
Right.
Okay, and then just, I know it's not on your report, but I know there's been some communication with the owners of the Windmill Market on that drainage behind the property. They were wanting to be proactive and jump on that before the rains.
Right, so Jerry was out there from MNS meeting with the owner, and that's on our list. That's on Granite Rock's list.
Great, all right, thank you.
Sure.
Leslie, anything?
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple of comments. And I appreciate you meeting with me earlier and answering some of my other questions. On the library mural, it'll be nice to see Valencia back again and putting her work up, and perhaps we can do a ribbon cutting for that or some ceremony. I don't know. And the San Benito Arts Council and their continuous support to San Juan. It's been amazing and really cool to watch these things go up. The ribbon cutting at the Washington Street Bridge, what an amazing little ceremony. Spirit San Juan Bautista has plaques that they have been promising to ribbon cuttings, and for the first time we saw one that day, and truly amazing. The plank that they use, the brands that they put on, super cool. And for those who weren't present, this was a $1 million grant from Caltrans's Clean California Highway Beautification Project. And Jennifer Lane from the San Benito Arts Council said, picture this, where all of the monies went to the fencing and the planting and the cleaning of that area, and a portion, it was like 150, I mean, it was minuscule, that went to the actual artists who created this amazing young energetic folks who put up, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful art works on for this whole project that occurred. We are the only ones that have the mural on the underside of the bridge. We are the only ones that have a relief, so it was super amazingly cool. Thanks, Scott, for all the work that you're doing on COG. It's a regional entity, and you do an amazing job representing both the county and San Juan, and sometimes it's kind of hard to do that. It's similar to LAFCO. Don, thanks for keeping the gas station project going. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was one of the best planning commission meetings we've had in a while. That's all I have. Well done on the volunteer fire sign, also super cool, keeping that. And a big shout out to the Coop for hanging with us.
You're up.
Awesome. Great report. I just have a few questions. I think you said there was no schedule for the work that's being done by Granite Rock on Lavanina and the city's portion of First Street.
I have not asked the county for a schedule for their work on San Juan Highway, First Street.
Isn't up until the city line on First Street ours, or is that?
I understood that the county was gonna take care of all of that, so, we didn't have to, so I'll need to follow.
Okay, and when they do that, they'll come all the way up to the tree that makes that turn in the roundabout deadly.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Not fun looking through the branches, trying to see who's coming at you at 50 miles an hour.
no one has died, just for the record.
No, not yet. And then for our part of that work, imminent.
Yes, the contract should have been signed by now, so.
Okay. And then, hold on.
It's a matter of getting the crew and granite staging and moving forward.
Okay, and then with respect to the wastewater, a few residents in town, myself included, got a notice of changes to the construction for the pipe. And from what I understand, nearly all of Caetano needs to be trenched and a pipe replaced.
No, it's more restricted than that. Thank you for that question. The city required Meritage to install an 18-inch pipe there. So what's needed is access to that pipe to put the smaller pipe inside of it. So that requires just work around the manholes. So it won't be a trench to the length of the tunnel. It'll be work around each of the manholes.
Okay,
So it'll be less impactful than than I thought.
that makes the residents at the corner of Rancho and Caetano happy.
So we can keep our trailers there.
Yes,
Okay.
currently a 50-50 vote.
The dog doesn't get a vote.
50-50 by person, not influence, losing that battle. And then with respect to the repurposing of the Coke lift station, if this happens, are they footing the bill for that? And that repurposing, I assume they'd be footing the bill because it would be for their benefit, not necessarily ours.
Yes, of course, Taylor asked that question and we made it clear that it's on their dime.
Okay,
But they agree with common sense instead of running that pipe for a mile into the city where it smells and irritates neighbors, especially in the summer. So I made that point. So we had the right people, and Mr. Koch was actually at the meeting because he still owns the property where the lift station is. So Mr. Koch contributed a lot to that meeting.
awesome. I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That was one of the questions I had. Thank you. I'll go over a couple of them. Thank you, Don, for working with me on the volunteer fire department sign. A lot of people don't know that's an Alex Zeller sign, and it's been up there since the 1950s. And my grandfather built that apparatus bay. So two long-time San Juan Bautista residents that were very influential. It would have broke my heart to see that sign come down because I served under that sign for 25 years. Nice to hear that some cities are being held accountable for the franchise fees on. I'm glad that we use it appropriately. Good. Once again, you're ahead of the game, Don. Appreciate it. I'm glad to hear the ditch is going to get cleaned. The unknown creek, right?
Right, no name creek.
The ditch, no name. On the mural. So I grew up 2 houses down from that. And as a kid, I just remember just growing up, staring at that just monolithic gray structure. And just thinking to myself, gosh, even as a kid, I was like, man, this is so urban looking, it was just like, this nice little country neighborhood, and you see this thing. So I took a video of it and I sent it to my mom, and my mom's favorite color is purple, by the way. So she was just so happy to see how nice it is now. So yeah, it came out wonderfully. And then got to hit you with a hard one, Don. How's the community center come along with the acoustics?
The contractor ordered the wrong color tiles, and so they're supposed to be in and they're supposed to get started next week.
But the good news is we have the permits.
Yes.
Finally. Okay. All right. Thank you. So that shouldn't take very long, though.
No, it's a three-day project.
Oh, okay. Good, because that's got to be maddening in there.
Oh, yeah.
Calling bingo and
Seniors can't hear, they're always like, huh?
Yeah,
And reading numbers, and they get really frustrated.
yeah, can't make a mistake on the bingo numbers. Okay, do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions from Zoom land?
No hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Looks like we've got A through G. Let me go to the public first. Does anybody from the public want to pull an item on the consent agenda? Anybody in Zoom land?
No
Audience?
hands raised.
Great. Okay, we'll go left to right. John, do you want to pull anything?
No.
Jackie?
No, Mayor.
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's see, let me start circling.
I'd like to pull D. I mean, E.
E.
I just wanted to see the reactions.
Okay. Oh, good, that was inflow. Do you want to pull anything, EJ?
Nope, nothing, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve A, B, C, D, F, and G?
I'll make a motion to approve A, B, C, D, F, and G.
I will second that motion.
Okay, Norma, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember John Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember EJ Sabathian,
Yes.
Mayor Scott Friels.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I'm so used to voting first.
It's gonna be weird for a while.
Okay, I also wanted to pull E, but want to go first?
Yes, please. I pulled it because it's an action to approve a resolution instituting rules of civility and decorum for conduct of city officials, employees, and members of the public during public meetings. And I felt that we should pull it and move it to an action item so that there can be a discussion on it. So that everybody knows the rules of engagement when coming to the podium or speaking from the dais. Or coming in on Zoom. And since it's an action item, it needs to have a motion to approve. It should go under action items.
Okay, well, most of these are. We also have resolutions that are also action items, and we were able to approve them, so.
So I felt that we should, so everybody who is listening or has the capability of listening, can hear what this is all about. We have had folks come up to the podium or, go beyond their minutes. We've had folks in chambers who have had outbursts. There's lots of conversations going on in chambers. And sometimes we at the dais aren't always the most polite to each other or to representatives of the community. So I just wanted everybody to actually hear it.
Okay,
Would you like city attorney to read it?
we can we just?
Well, we can't do it during a consent agenda item, can we? Does it?
But it's been pulled.
Yes.
So it becomes an action item.
Automatically falls down into number 7.
Yes, right. Okay.
Yeah, so would you be okay with comfortable if you read the?
Yes, absolutely.
I have a question on the section on there, so. That's why.
Yeah, okay. So do we have to have a motion to, or a second to?
We would just proceed as we normally would, by adopting the rules of civility and decorum.
At
Then
7?
There should be a motion and a second.
Okay.
And then
So
approve.
we don't have to do anything else
That's correct.
with that because it's pulled. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, my apologies.
No worries. It's something that I think we're all concerned about. Is that your preference to hear it read out loud or?
Um. Just a synopsis is fine. I mean, everybody will have an opportunity I just want it to be known that we have this instead of just brushing over it
Mhm.
as a consent agenda item where it would never have been discussed. I just want people to know it exists.
Okay.
So, yeah,
understand.
so we had the highlights,
Sure, I'm happy to run through it quickly. There are 4 sections. The first one is purpose and application, second, conduct of public meetings, third is enforcement, and then fourth is general provisions. I've seen a lot of these types of rules and they can go on forever and ever. I think we tried to condense it so it could be grasped, but I think it covers all the points. Purpose and application, simply to promote mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct. And it's not intended to deprive anyone of any of their rights to participate in the public process. And the application of the rules, it goes to any public meeting of any city council, commission, committee, board, or other public body. And to all those present at each of those meetings. The second section, conduct at public meetings. It does give specific rules that no person attending a public meeting shall engage in disorderly, disruptive, etc. Conduct that disturbs the peace or the good order of the meeting. No yelling, hand clapping, stomping, just a civil type of behavior. And no person attending the public meeting shall make public comments or remarks to the council, commission, etc. That pertain solely to matters outside the subject matter jurisdiction of the council meeting that's being held. So we want to keep people on task and on subject. Enforcement of the rules is vested in the presiding officer of each of the meetings, be it city council or otherwise. And that presiding officer may issue a warning to any member of the public violating these rules and ask the person cease all conduct in violation of the rules. And if present, the city attorney or designee of the city attorney may also issue a warning. After the warning is given, if the member continues to persist in violating the rules, the presiding officer or city attorney may issue further orders against the violating member of the public. The presiding officer or city attorney's further orders may include instructing the violating member of the public to cease their comment, using video conferencing software or technology to mute audio or hide video of the violating member of the public, and or instructing the violating member of the public to leave the meeting. So it's kind of a gradual enforcement, but if the violations continue to increase, the presiding officer or city attorney can ask the person to leave. The enforcement of the rules should be proportional to the severity of the member's specific violation. And the rules do not address enforcement against public officials sitting on the city council, commission, etc. During a meeting of such public body. Enforcement against elected and appointed public officials shall be as further determined by the city council as appropriate. Finally, number 4, general provisions. Procedures described in these rules are not exclusive, shall not preclude any other rights, remedies, or procedures authorized by federal, state, or local law. And finally, a breach of the rule shall in no event be construed to invalidate any act taken by the city council, commission, committee, board, or other public body holding the meeting at which a violation has occurred.
Thank you. See if we have anybody from the public who wants to comment or question on this. Do we have any hands? It doesn't look like any hands raised.
No hands raised on Zoom.
And nobody in our audience, anybody? Okay. John, do you have any questions on it?
Not really. I just have a couple of comments. I think it's a good thing to have, our neighbor to the east of us, Hollister, has had a few issues and with people at the podium and other such things, and their decorum hasn't always been perfect. Neither is ours, but so I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Anything?
Yes, thank you. In response or comment or question to City Attorney John Giffen, section 2.0 on conduct at public meetings, where it talks about including but not limited to yelling and hand clapping. I highlighted hand clapping. Because sometimes I think like we had example of hand clapping today, you know, when we are appreciative, emoting appreciation, you know, support. How would we approach that?
I think the real measure is whether it's disruptive to the meeting, whether it's going to be just halt the progress of the meeting or otherwise interrupt it. That kind of thing, I think is mostly positive. And the city is here together, the community is together. If there is a positive expression of support, I don't think we should sanction that. But it has to be in proportion to the, you know, can't be wild craziness. I mean, we are here.
Inappropriate timing, you know?
Right. It's a judgment call, but in general, I think those kinds of things should be supported, and within reason.
And then I had asked at the last previous meeting about signs.
Yes.
And you had responded with a very thorough letter to me in response to that it broaches on freedom of speech, the signs, like there was an incident where there were signs here that could be interpreted as being, I don't know, maybe it was freedom of speech, but they could have been offensive to some people. I mean, some of the elected officials and people that were on Zoom that saw them, or people in the audience that saw them. They certainly were not holding them up where they were obstructing people's views of the dais. So that didn't take place, but the message clearly, I thought, could have offended some people. And could you just touch on that briefly, what you said?
Sure, and I'll distribute my email, and probably should have copied the entire council, but you'd asked the question.
Sure.
It really comes down to what, if you're regulating the content of the sign, then there's more, you have to, it's more specific and harsh. The review is harsher, where we're concerned about First Amendment rights. If the content is neutral, then it's allowed more regularly, and the regulation is not so strict. But if you're going to tell people to put down signs, it's just going to be looked at more pointedly.
So we could just get as specific as you can have a sign, but it should be like our sign ordinance, a certain size inside a small enclosed space.
Again, I would say the standard is if you're disrupting the meeting, and if you're blocking people's view and making it difficult, then you're going to have more authority to move that sign. So if it's not bothering anybody, it's not disrupting the meeting, it's a little less harshly regulated.
How offensive, if it's really just blatantly offensive message on the sign, we'd have to look at that.
If it's really harshly offensive, then I think
Depiction of something, you know, just really.
if it's inappropriate, then I think the presiding officer has the right to regulate it.
So that would be our mayor.
That's correct. Or the commission, the planning commissioner head. Sure, the chair.
They weren't, you could very well as a city attorney.
These rules give the authority to the city attorney to assist in the process.
Chair, or yourself. And
Yes.
who would be third in line? Would be a third person if you weren't here. Maybe Dawn?
Yeah, right.
Okay,
I would say
The highest ranking staff person here, certainly.
all right,
And short of calling 911.
okay.
Right.
You could actually have a sheriff come, like I
Absolutely.
noticed where you said, you
Absolutely.
give them warnings, you know, like there's 3 chances of warnings, but if they just would not comply, then you may have to have them escalated out.
Absolutely. A number of city council members, as council meetings do have an off-duty officer in them. Yes. Salinas did, for sure.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. I also had the hand clapping, circled, 3.2, just for, housekeeping, public is twice in line number 2. And 3.3 talks about height, ceasing comments, mute audio, and hide video. Hide video as in, shutting off these cameras. So these meetings are being recorded.
Yes.
Is that retro? If somebody, there's an outburst or over the time limit, does that get cut off at 3 minutes, or is it
I would
already part of the
My,
record?
my opinion, it was that if it violates the 3-minute rule, it probably should be edited out.
Okay,
And that any behavior that's sanctionable or that is problematic should also.
okay. Thank you for that. Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now I know why you pulled this the way you did. It does need to be heard. Question on 2.2. Should we have a little more clarification, because public comment at the beginning of the meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but a person can come up and speak on anything they want. That's not on the agenda, even if it's outside of our, I mean, if they want to go up and speak on UFOs or
Right.
or who's the greatest rock band, I guess they have that, right? I mean, so that one's a little bit kind of misleading. I don't want anybody to think that if they're from like the Rotary or whatever, they can't come up and announce something.
It really should pertain to city business, no matter what the subject is. So I think that's what subject matter jurisdiction means, but maybe because it's not that clear, maybe we can further clarify it. And I would say it's a little, subject matter jurisdiction may be a little bit too technical. Maybe we should be more specific as to what exactly we mean. And I would say whoever stands up and talks at a public meeting the subject matter should pertain to city or city business. If it's not on the agenda, that's okay. But I think that's what we were trying to communicate here. And we can think about that and further refine it.
Yeah, because we have had people come up and speak about, something to do with housing in Hollister or, other things outside of the city limits, which I guess would affect us because we're in the county, but we would have never known about it if it wasn't brought up. So that's kind of a tough one.
I think it does require a certain judgment call there about whether it's related to city business. So I do understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And I think I would just take a look at subject matter jurisdiction and perhaps try to define that a little bit more clearly.
Okay. And as far as the city attorney, basically, well, there's a few spots here about the city attorney may also issue warnings under these rules. I get that, and it's nothing personal against you, but I think it would be how do I put this? it kind of takes the gavel out of the dais if, you know, if a city attorney is chiming in, and what if the planning commission chair doesn't feel it's unnecessary, or what if the planning commission chair is on board with what, you know, that it's a tough one on that. And I understand the premise, because, you know, sometimes we all do need help. And I'm glad you brought up the point about the deputy sheriff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And people need to know that that is an option. It's, of course, worst case scenario, and it's going to make matters much worse, as we've seen so many times across the country recently, but that is an option. So thanks for pulling this out and just expanding on this. It makes a lot of sense.
Mayor,
Yeah,
may I add on those last two items that you had just mentioned?
sure.
Just a little tidbit of my own thing. And again, tell me if my sound isn't coming through well. I did change a few things on my computer. I completely, you know, agree with the legal counsel, and as it's written, something that's very important for that last matter that you addressed, why I would encourage you to keep that with your legal counsel and attorney, is because you don't want to politicize as your role as an elected or an appointed officer, like when you're talking about your planning commission or your housing board. Those can be very politicized roles. And by allowing staff to help manage the decorum, not taking charge of the decorum, but helping just to manage and possibly addressing the public and escorting the public out, it really does unpoliticize the situation. I've had to do that a number of times in a city I worked in, you know, in Alaska, one of my mayor called on me as the clerk. We did have a sergeant in arms every meeting. We had someone in there, but she called on staff, the city manager and myself, quite often to help with people, taking them out to the hallway, escorting them out, talking through some things. When the police officers needed help, they would help us. But two factors of where that really helped was, one, most of the time it comes up because it is a political, heated, emotional matter, right? And so it's relieving you of any of that stress from that situation and any future, you know, campaign, election, things like that. It's really truly is a protection for the elected and appointed members sitting at the dais. And we're neutral. We're here to help facilitate the meeting. We're here to help you run the meeting well. If we're stepping out, if someone is escalated to that level and we have to step out of the meeting room, you get to continue to run your meeting and efficiently. Otherwise, if you're leaving, if it's you who's needing to do that or someone at the dais, as I think you're saying, and I could be 100% corrected on that, please correct me, then the meeting stops and you're not carrying on. So my 2 cents, I agree what you're saying. You as the presiding officer of the meeting are the presiding officer. In the language as it stands is just the staff, legal counsel, city manager, your clerk, whoever's there, helping to assist you. So it's allowing language in this decorum, the civility and decorum rules, to help them continue to assist you in facilitating a very successful meeting. To the first one, the language about the, you know, subject matter jurisdiction, that's Brown Act language. I would recommend you leave that in there because it is straight from what we're supposed to be doing. But I love how the attorney also said, let's clarify it a little bit more, because it is not quite street language, right? So I do want to just add in that it is Brown Act language. And so I love that it was there because it helps a reiteration of what you know you're already doing. And it is up to the presiding officer to determine how that citizen, how the public comment does relate to you. Because as the examples that you provided are excellent examples of how they aren't necessarily right within your city limits, but they still have a great impact to your knowledge, your strength, and making educated decisions at what you're doing at the dais, all of that stuff. So it's not language limiting you. It was regurgitation of Brown Act, which is important. So long-winded, sorry.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, and for some reason, the reason it jumped out at me, because it seems like I've read it somewhere before. Because it was a head scratcher. So that's probably that 2.2. It's probably somewhere I probably have read it before. And I understand about the staff staying neutral and stuff. It just, I don't want to see staffs in harm's way either. I don't want to look over at Liz when she's here and say, hey, can you escort this belligerent person out? That's just not, it's not her job at all. And then I don't know, would the meeting continue if our clerk is gone? So there's some concerns about that. I understand where it is, and fortunately, we don't have enough of this to be well practiced. So we're pretty blessed on that occasion. So, but thank you, Norma. I appreciate it. Anything else? Don, would you have any?
Well, I would say that Liz should stay and help you keep your meeting going. And it is clearly the city manager's job to enforce all laws of the city.
Yeah.
So I would stand up and
Yeah.
I was just gonna offer my own blood before hers.
It's awfully noble of you. Okay, are we still then, do you want to continue and
We need to make a motion. on it.
leave a motion? Yep. If you're all happy with what you're reading. So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista instituting rules of civility and decorum for conduct of city officials, employees, and members of the public during public meetings.
To a second.
Second.
Norma, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, and noted for the record, since we can't see the dais, the first was done by Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan, and the second was by Councilmember EJ Sabathia. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call vote here. Councilmember John Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember EJ Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Scott Briels.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Action item. Glasses on. Approve a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, with the County of Monterey for shared cost agreement for the County Geographical Information System, GIS, for a 3-year term.
Thank you, Mayor. The agenda is incorrect. It's actually the San Benito County that the MOA is proposed for. And it's an extension of a current agreement that we have with them. And it's just a re-up and an update for the council. We rely a lot on the county's GIS system, and Renee Archiotta is really supportive of the city. A lot of the maps that we've generated for this sphere of influence, especially recently, those maps are all generated from this database. And it's more than just mapping, it's also the layers underneath it. It's the parcel data, it's the property owner data. And so this is a very reasonable price for the city to pay to get pretty much unlimited access to that data. And I've seen same day turnaround from Renee. So they've been very supportive of us.
Wow. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Anybody in Zoom land? None seen. John, questions?
No, just fully supported. The maps are critical to our planning work and city work, and I don't see how we could live without it.
Jackie?
No questions. Thank you, Dawn.
Sure.
Thank you. I've been watching this with the Board of Supervisors and happy it's coming to us. Thank you.
Sounds awesome. No questions.
It is great. We have used it extensively with the urban growth boundaries stuff. Matter of fact, that was a question that came up about how difficult will it be to do some extracting of properties and things like that. And it was like, well, we got county deal. And I should have known that because I was involved a long time ago with addressing and things like that when I was on the fire department. And I love this math. It's map stuff. So I'm all excited about it. So, okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Normally that would be Sabathia and then Morris Lopez for the second.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You ready for roll?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember John Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember EJ Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Scott Friels.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, 7B, agreement with EMC Planning Group to amend the 2022 draft community plan to reflect recent recommended change and proposals to the sphere of influence.
Thank you, Mayor Friels.
Thank you.
The report before you, was also shared with our Urban Growth Sphere of Influence Committee, members, Thursday night on the 13th, because they're related. What the council approved by resolution of intent, in November was a sphere of influence map. And what this study does is, puts the bones on the map for the LAFCO application. So, this is lagging behind the changes to the map that occurred, a year ago when the sphere of influence included annexing or potentially annexing property to the south of the city. So the community plan included with this land use and zoning for those parcels on the Alameda and San Juan Hollister Road and in that direction. So now what's before you then is the modified proposal to come back with a report to support our current map where the sphere of influence is the same as the political boundaries. So this is, in a sense, a housekeeping item, but it helps move that sphere of influence application of LAFCO forward. And so that's why we discussed it with the Urban Growth Boundary Committee that supported it 100% last Thursday night on the 13th. So we're turning this around as fast as we can. The goal was to use SB2 funding for this project as we have in the past. We've used $150,000 so far, but in a conversation Friday, with HCD, they needed us to expend the $10,000 remaining in that grant by the end of the calendar year. And we determined with EMC on the phone with HCD that we weren't going to be able to do that. And what HCD recommended is that we go back and find other suitable expenses that the city has incurred, primarily the housing element. So we're going to submit a claim for that $10,000 with our invoices from the housing element work that was funded with the general plan, which is the reason that the city staff provided the council with an updated resolution to remove the reference to the SB2. So with that, it's happy to answer questions. And I just want to just highlight real quick the back of the agreement, the back of the report, and should include, and I don't see it here now, some details from that describe the whole process. Okay. Background summary, it's called attachment C. It's a little bit out of order. Okay, so this attachment C summarizes the steps that we need to take to get our sphere of influence moving forward to the LAFCO. And this is the same report that Commissioner Dave Medeiros and Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez and I will talk about when we meet Thursday. Because we go through on page 5 of Exhibit C, you'll see the planning, the general plan policies that need to be changed as part of adopting this plan. So this is all a study that will be part of EMC's work. They'll go through our entire general plan and scrub it clean to match the new sphere of influence that's being proposed. So that's the purpose of this EMC infill framework and targeted general plan amendment dated November 30th, 2023. So happy to go through the proposal itself if the council has any questions or concerns. And it's just helping us step in that direction when we adopted a resolution of intent. So I hope that was clear. And if anybody has any questions, we're here to answer them for you. And It's, yes, yeah, Anna Bornstein, and EMC is represented in the audience, so we can have them support us as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is getting easier. There's nobody in our audience in chambers, so, and is there anybody in Zoom land that would like to speak?
We have no hands raised. Oh,
oh,
we
looks
do.
like-
We have a hand raised.
EMC wants to speak, okay.
Okay,
Yes. So I am bringing in Anna. Anna, when you come in, once you unmute yourself, your 3-minute timer will start.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mayor and Don here. I just wanted to clarify in the resolution, just to be specific, it's accurate in the proposal, but if you want it to be reflected in the resolution, the actual cost estimate, the $111,625 is for EMC costs, but there's an additional, the $37,950 is for the sub-consultants required to generate the infill framework. So the total, oh gosh, now I have to zoom in here. And the LAFCO adoption is that the additional line items of 22,500. So I just wanted that to be reflected in the resolution.
Okay, sure.
Or just acknowledge it if you have to update the
No,
resolution.
we can go back and clean that up before it's signed.
Okay.
So that would be right. The city council set aside an additional $60,000 to accompany to supplement the SB2 contribution.
oh, okay,
So that's in the budget.
yeah, you said that from the beginning, right?
Right.
Okay. I thought I heard that. John, any questions?
No, no, thank you. The city manager and I went over this morning and I'm completely in favor of it. It will get us going and get us on the track to get things done.
Anything, Jackie?
Yeah, I agree. The total cost and the breakdown should be reflected in the final document that we will be signing or approving. I had a question for Dawn. Quickly, I know this was a group that we worked with a year ago and it culminated in that infamous meeting on June 13th that you brought up before. We were contracted to pay them $249K at that time, correct?
Well, I don't recall what the agreement was in June 2022.
For that work that they were gonna do. So did we expend all of that? You know?
We'd spent 150. I don't recall the 220. The 222 was the 150 plus the general fund contributions.
So we did not, because that work stopped, we didn't go any further. So there's money that we did not pay them, and this is what we're using now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the budget was that amount, not the contract.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Okay. And then there is a page here that is very small. It would take like a magnifying.
Yes, I used to magnify.
500 plus. So there's like, I know I did see it larger print. I forget where I saw it, but there were a lot of layers of senior planners, associate to the associate. So does that all take into account this grand total of 160K? Maybe the lady from EMC can answer that.
Sure. If Anna would like to answer that, that'd be great.
Yes, that's correct. And apologies for the small font. I can share a larger scale spreadsheet if you'd like.
So the project manager would be the senior. Like I said, I can't read it now, but there are line items of different planners. So the project is like different aspects of the work. Help me understand.
Oh, sure. Just for the team that supports San Juan Bautista, yeah, there are different planners at different levels. So we have the oversight of the senior principal, the day-to-day operations will likely be associate planners, but then support staff for graphics and elements like that would be included. So this just represents all the contributing team members and the just the projected hours for the task.
So they wouldn't be all working at the same time. There might be different phases where they're phased out depending on where they're working on the project. Is that correct, or am I incorrect with that?
Yeah, there could be some overlap, but depending on the task and yeah, you're correct. And the points, they might phase in and out. So it would not be all team members all the time, no. And if you can, if you do have a higher resolution version, or I'm happy to share, the hours, the allocations are also correlated with the specific tasks, so you can kind of get an idea of how the different team members, which tasks the hours are allocated for.
Okay, and it looks like the project will be completed next December of 2024, and it starts next month.
We are actually aiming for Q2, or beginning of Q2. And then should we go further with LAFCO adoption, that would go into mid Q2 or potentially Q3.
Okay, thank you. And as our city manager, Don Reynolds, did mention, myself and another committee member on the SOI and Urban Growth Boundary will meet with them to go over the general plan. But I'll have to be honest with you, it looks like maybe we're paying you, be redundant. If we're volunteering and you're getting paid, maybe we're just gonna have you do it. You're the experts. We don't have the background.
Well, you know, but community engagement is so essential. So you might not be paid, but you know, the input is very valuable. So
Input, but I also look at expertise, because we're actually just going to go through it with a fine comb and try to pull out the amended sections that we need amended to fall in line with our infill development. But thank you very much.
Listen,
I have nothing. Thank you very much. Thank you for this.
I see scribbles.
And zoom in on.
You're up. Yeah.
I'll just go through and take off. I had questions for where we were with next steps for LAFCO, but that was answered. Curious what the timeline expectation is, so like specific those next steps.
Yeah, so there is a budget attached for the SB2 funds, and it shows a draft infill framework plan to be completed by March 20th, 2024. And then once that's approved, then we can start to fund and take steps and bring it to that. So that's what she means when she says Q2. First week in April.
Yep. The cost stuff was answered, and then my only other question / comment is this the last opportunity, this approval, the last opportunity to speak on or edit those maps?
No, if you look at the work, in fact, the task 4 in the proposal is another round of community engagement.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure and to state explicitly, not necessarily for myself, that you know there will be opportunity, most importantly for the community to have engagement on those maps, and that we're not voting on some line in the sand.
No, task 5 involves a community meeting, 2 planning commission meetings, and 2 city council meetings.
Awesome, that's it.
Yay, more meetings.
We're gonna do a trust fall, me and you.
No.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
No, no questions, but I'm not sure if the council knows that Jackie and David Medeiros both fell on the sword to peruse through our wonderful general plan, and hopefully they can, hopefully some stuff gets kicked out of it that's obsolete and as they're going on. So, and Jackie's been reading it, so it's see, putting her to sleep. So, doesn't look like we have anybody. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve as amended with the cost breakdown.
Oh, good, thank you. Any second?
I'll second it.
Did you get those, Norma?
Yes, thank you.
Jordan.
That was, yes, Mayor Pro Tem
Jordan and Freeman, yeah,
Perfect, thank you.
thank you. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Councilmember John Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember EJ Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Scott Frales.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least. A discussion item, first steps in considering establishing, wait a minute, look at, I got the wrong one here. Hang on a minute. Where did that come from? 8A, yeah, this was written. Leslie threw in a curveball on me. Consider workshop on wedge issues with special speaker from California Intergovernmental Risk Authority. Don, I'm sure there's a lot of questions on this.
Sure,
All you.
sure, I'm happy to answer them. When we had concerns expressed to staff, brought to city manager's attention about the way staff is communicating with the general public in response to issues that came up this summer, et cetera. I had a conversation with our Joint Powers Insurance Authority, and they recommended 34th Street Consulting come out and do a workshop for staff and the city council, should the city council want to participate. Much like the kinds of workshops we did with City Gate in the library that one Saturday afternoon. And maybe have work that's convenient for city staff, but also have a special session on a Saturday. Where we talk about as listed in the handout that I provided you, improving communication, customer service, de-escalation, and self-awareness, so that especially staff is aware of the impact they're having when they make decisions or when they make statements and how the public is perceiving them. And so that led me also to believe that we could benefit from training from this firm on the equity and inclusion issues. That's come up on our radar before, but that if we're impacting people in a way that's inequitable, then we need to be aware of it. We need to prevent ourselves from doing that. We need to stop ourselves. We need to, I think it's just a method to create increased awareness. When I looked at a different insurance authority in Southern California, I noticed that they're in the middle of their annual conference, and actually Jacob Houghton was their keynote speaker ending their conference. So I think I just wanted to bring this to the council's attention, that we have this proposal between $25,000 and $3,000 for a 4-hour training session to help staff work in these specific areas of communication with the citizens of our city. And the council, of course, is invited to join.
Thank you. Any questions? John, questions?
No, thank you, though. No.
Jackie, any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Leslie?
Is this just for staff and council commissions? Is public invited? Question.
It was intended to improve staff's communication with the public, so it was mostly staff oriented.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything?
Yeah, you answered the specific cost question. If this is for staff, would it be required for staff? And I know you just mentioned weekend hours, but would it be better to do within working hours?
Yeah, the 4-hour session reference here would be with staff and would be required.
Okay, and would that be better to do within their normal working hours instead of?
Right, and so if the council wanted to expand this, we could try and we'll budget for a Saturday morning or something, then the community could participate as well. If we wanted to do that, but the original proposal was just for staff on a weekday.
So that'd be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Good question. I thought that too, because weekends and overtime and all that stuff. It's one of those things that the insurance company recommends. I think it's probably prudent. So this is just discussion, so I guess we don't really have to make any decisions on it. It's something you've already kind of done, so. I mean,
I haven't signed the contract.
No, I mean, but through our insurance company, I think it's a good step, personally. Do we have any public comment on this in Zoom land?
We did not have any hands raised.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Is this something that you do typically like in the HR realm, like every few years that you do this sort of training with staff, or I guess like a retreat sort of thing? It's not, maybe it's not problem initiated, but just sort of like touching on their public communication skills, customer service skills.
That's a great question, and I think we have involved executive staff. You know, we had Liz and Brian participate with the city council in July. But my intention to have all the staff participate at all levels, so that's why I would make it mandatory, and hopefully the part-time staff as well.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, everyone across the board, because they all come in contact with the public, right? Not just the lady at the desk, it's, you know, utilities workers, everybody.
And library and recreation and code enforcement, right, across the board.
Right, okay, thank you.
It gets lengthy once you start adding it up. How many,
What's that?
Yeah,
there's a
how many
lot.
different groups we have? Yeah. It gets lengthy. Okay, well, now we're down to the number 9, the A word, adjournment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I figured you'd be right on that.
Second.
Norma, that was Sabatia and then Jordan.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember John Freeman?
Yes,
Excuse me.
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Jordan.
Yes.
Councilmember Jackie Morris Lopez.
Yes, thank you, and happy holidays, everybody in Zoom land, public, and here at the dais, everybody, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Thank
Happy
you.
Hanukkah.
Councilmember EJ Sabathia.
Yes.
Mayor Scott Friels.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for filling in, Norma.
Yeah, thank you,
Of
Norma.
course,
We're
it's
really
great to
see you
Really
again.
good to see
have
you.
everybody.
It's a lot of fun.
It's great to
Can't
hear
see
your
us on the
voices.
camera, but we're waving, waving for you.
We'll wave to you from out there.
That's right. Bye, everybody. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for letting me join you. I do want to note for the record, the meeting has officially adjourned at 8:27 p.m. And I wish everybody the best. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know. Yeah.